The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 18th day of December, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 1075 with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman. We'll have a news break a bit later from Teo Dale. How's everyone feeling today? It is the second last day of the traditional work week. It's Friday Eve. It's Friday Junior. It is the second last show, live show of 2025. Hopefully everyone out there is feeling good, ready for a good day today, whether you are on your way to work or just relaxing and chilling, enjoying the holiday season. I hope you are doing it as you wish. All right. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making this part of your daily routine a good one today as we welcome Pastor Maria Seaman on. We're going to be talking about the reason for the season, a Christian perspective on Christmas. The daily play is going to be more holiday trivia today. And audience, don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, so we've got a conversation to have today. Today, I want to talk about something that keeps coming up in conversations across this island. Bail, accountability, and consistency. Because when people heard that Brian Bennett, after pleading guilty to child pornography offenses, was released on bail pending appeal, a lot of Bermudians didn't just feel surprised. Many felt unsettled. Not because the courts shouldn't follow the law, not because appeals don't matter, but because people started asking very reasonable questions. Like, is this how similar cases are usually handled? We've seen people accused of violent crime remanded for months. We've seen drug offenders denied bail because of flight risk. We've seen strict conditions imposed in cases involving public safety. So when a convicted child sex offender is released after sentence, and the public doesn't clearly understand the conditions, the safeguards, or the reasoning, it could shake the public confidence. I don't think it's about vengeance. It's about protection. And it's whether the system applies the same caution when the risk involves children and long-term trauma as it does when the risk involves drugs or violence. Bail decisions send messages. They tell victims that they're being centered. They tell families whether safety is the priority. They tell the public whether justice feels balanced or selective. So today, we're not asking whether the courts followed the law. We're asking whether the law as applied is giving Bermudians, confidence that public safety comes first. Because accountability isn't just about the final sentence. It's about every decision along the way. Questions of the morning. Very simple. What are your thoughts on the release of convicted sex offenders while on bail? And a simple yes or no. Do you trust the justice system? And this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. And if you let me just go to the article. TNN released an article, said convicted sex offender Brian Craig Bennett has been released from prison pending an appeal of his sentence. 53-year-old Bennett was sentenced to 2 years in prison, one of which was suspended for 1 year. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of accessing child pornography. He had originally denied the offenses, which were committed between December 2017 and March 2018. Bennett was released on Tuesday last week after filing an appeal against the sentence. It's unclear whether there are any restrictions or conditions attached to his bail, but it is understood he is scheduled to travel overseas during the Christmas holiday. As word of Bennett's release pending appeal spread through the community, questions are now being asked as to why this has been allowed. TNN reports that they sought clarification from an attorney who, on condition of anonymity, that word, anonymity, you know that word. A person can typically be released on bail pending appeal if their sentence is likely to be completed before the court can review the case, the attorney said. However, they added, in cases where a defendant has been convicted on a guilty plea for a child sex offense, granting bail pending appeal is highly unusual. Ordinarily, since the appeal would only be concerning the sentence and not the conviction, as the defendant admits guilt, the appeal would be handled quickly. On this particular occasion, the judge saw fit to grant bail to the individual, and the prosecution is left with no right to have another court review that decision. So we'll stay tuned to TNN, and that's from TNNBDA.com, that report. But again, what are your thoughts on the release of convicted sex offenders while on bail? And do you trust the justice system? Do you trust that the justice system will get these decisions right? Let's take a look. So, why this matters? I think it matters because people in Bermuda, we tend to compare things a lot, right? And I think the comparisons are, they're justified because we immediately go, well, this person was sentenced to this, and they didn't get bail while they were appealing it. And as we know, different cases, I mean, if it comes down to judge discretion and also following the law, right? But I think what's also concerning is that we don't necessarily know what the conditions are. Now, I've been told that this individual has another passport. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but if true, I don't think by law that Bermuda could take the passport of someone of another jurisdiction. So there are concerns that people have that this individual may not return. I understand the concern. I completely understand that concern. But what are your thoughts, audience? What do you think about this case? Do you believe that this individual deserved bail? Now, let's look at other sexual offenses. A man convicted of sexual exploitation offense received a 16-year sentence. And during appeal for such serious cases, bail is uncommon due to public safety risk. Now, maybe the judge felt this individual was not a public safety risk. Now, Even in cases with suspended sentences, when bail was necessary, it was usually with conditions and for pretrial release, not after conviction plus sentencing. This is an interesting one. But what makes the Bennett situation different? In most serious sexual offense convictions, especially those involving child related material or contact granting bail after sentencing and conviction, is rare because the court assesses the risk of reoffending, risk to specific victims or the community, likelihood they will appear for appeal, and whether the appeal could reasonably be decided quickly without release. In Bennett's case, the judge did grant bail pending appeal, apparently without reporting of strict conditions. And this decision is not subject to immediate Crown review, meaning prosecution, as said in TNN's article, can't automatically ask a higher court to reconsider this bail order. Yeah? This is of interest to people. And I completely understand why so many people are concerned by this. But again, the questions of the morning: what are your thoughts on the release of convicted sex offenders while on bail? And do you trust the justice system? Do you trust that the justice system has gotten this right and will get this right? Let us know. Uh, we've got Suzanne Ingham says, no, I don't trust the legal system. Why not, Suzanne? Pastor Maria Seaman says, no. No. Jennifer Butterfield says, no, I don't trust the legal system, and he should not be allowed to leave the country. Why, audience, why do you think in this case that this individual may have been granted bail? Because there are some people who, there was a debate in the Daily Hour group. Some people felt it was a race thing. Others said, no, it's not a race thing. I know, Black people who have been convicted of, sex offenses, and they too have been granted bail until their sentencing. Right? So how do you feel about this? How do you feel that, and if you were just tuning in, we're speaking about, I'll just give you reflect on what we're discussing. We're discussing the fact that, according to an article on TNN, Brian Bennett, who pled guilty recently to 2 counts of accessing child pornography, dating back to 2017 and 2018. He was initially sentenced to 2 years in prison with half of his term suspended. According to TNN, he was then granted bail and allowed to travel. And it's caused a ruckus in the community. People are concerned. People are asking, how could this happen? People believe he's a flight risk. So what are your thoughts, audience, on the release of convicted sex offenders while on bail? And also, do you trust the justice system? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Dorian says, I do not trust Bermuda's justice system. Crap like this only happens with white dudes. I mean, it seems that way. I mean, it was a case earlier this year where a woman she was a nurse. She was involved in a collision and she got a very unique sentence. We discussed it on this show. I cannot remember the sentence. And everyone pointed to race then as well. And I do try to find comparisons before I have these conversations. Like, let me find a comparison to see if it is. Now, I don't know of a case where someone convicted of a sex offense has been granted bail on appeal. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I couldn't find one. But I know there are instances where a black person has been convicted of a sexual offense and they've had bail until sentencing. I do know that that has happened. Now, if Mr. Bennett were not white, would he have this privilege? I don't know. But I understand exactly why people feel that way. I am not going to dismiss that because justice should not be decided by what race you are. Accountability should not discriminate. Manuela John says this decision will cause us to mistrust the justice system, especially since he is allowed to travel overseas, although we don't have all the facts. And that's a concern. Why don't we have the facts? Why don't we have the facts? We had a conversation with our good friend Brenda Lee yesterday from SCARS. We cannot continue to have these conversations and then feel like we're being slapped in the face by the justice system. It's just not good. This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Again, what are your thoughts on the release of convicted sex offenders while on bail? And do you trust the justice system? We've got Suzanne Ingham says, I've seen guys railroaded in the court. It's not all judges. It's only took one bad experience. Then I saw the way young men are treated in the court. One guy became the judge's target. All of this, I think all of this has left a very bitter taste in my mouth with the courts. Janice Battersby says, the justice system seems to be the perennial cart behind the horse. So much that we don't know for legal reasons. And I'm sure it's being taken advantage of. Humans are humans. Yeah. I'm sure it's being taken advantage of. Yeah. WKD Lama says the details of the case is limited, so bail could be justified. He should surrender his passport during the appeals process. Okay, I agree. And I think it's unfortunate we don't know the details, but for legal reasons, they may be justified. However, the passport situation, I'm pretty sure that if a person, if you just had a Bermuda passport, for instance, they can take it. But if the individual has another passport, they cannot take that. I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm audience, if you can tell me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that if the individual has a non-Bermudian passport for another jurisdiction, that they cannot take that from them. What can be done to stop them from traveling? I don't know. But let's just hope that the individual does return and has their day in court. Manuela John says once he travels overseas, Bermuda has no control over him. Correct. Correct. And I think that's a big concern that people have, a just concern. It's a very just concern. I completely understand and agree with that. So again, audience, what are your thoughts on the release of convicted sex offenders? And yes or no, do you trust the justice system? This is your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure. Tussie2510 says, no, this justice system really needs a whole revamping. Why? Is this person a certain persuasion? Why is Bermuda always made to look like the perfect jurisdiction for a certain type of criminal? I mean, I'll read between those lines. I will read between those lines. Dorian says, if he fled to the US, it's because the BPS did not give the US Customs his name to put him on the stop list. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but okay, maybe. I mean, Did he flee? I mean, he took a trip. We don't know if the individual fled. I mean, look, according to the TNN article, right? According to the TNN article, again, it's unclear whether there were any restrictions or conditions attached to his bail, but it is understood he is scheduled to travel overseas during the Christmas holiday. It didn't say that he has traveled or is going to travel. It just said it is understood he is scheduled to travel. Maybe the individual is not traveling. There's no confirmation. I just want to say this, and I think we live in a very small community. And in smaller communities, we tend to do this thing where we don't allow people to have their day in court. I think this is a bit different, though. I think this is different because if I remember correctly, this gentleman pled guilty. He pled guilty to 2 counts. So I'm interested to know the details and bail conditions. Is he changing his plea? Did he get bad advice from an attorney? I don't know. Folks, this was your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Just to let us know, keep letting us know, just a yes or no, do you trust the justice system? What we're going to do right now is we're going to give thanks to Titan Express and Secure. Don't forget, this is our second last show of the year. And today, Pastor Maria Seaman is our final guest of 2025. We're going to have a lot of fun and giveaways tomorrow, but let's show some love to Titan Express and Secure. And then we'll go to Teo Dill for your daily hour news break.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Let's go to Teo for your daily hour news break, and then we'll take our break, and then we'll be back. Our final guest of 2025, Pastor Maria Seaman. Stick with us.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break, brought to you by the great folks at Peoples. Wherever life takes you, Peoples is here when you need us. A familiar face, a caring hand, and a reminder that you matter. Bermuda continues to be the home of unique big-ticket insurance innovations, as the most valuable ever cyber catastrophe bond has just been closed. Global specialty insurer Beasley put together a $300 million cyber catastrophe bond, the largest issuance of its type in history. A cyber catastrophe bond provides cover for remote probability, catastrophic, and systemic cyber events. Now, this is the culmination of Beasley's recent efforts in the space, adding to their $670 million in total cyber catastrophe bonds and more than a cool billy in cyber excess of loss cover, the largest and most comprehensive program in the market. Beasley Chief Underwriting Officer Paul Bentic also shared they'll be leveraging their new local office to go even further as a leader in the investment, transformation, and securitization of cyber risks in the market. Now, this bond especially matters nowadays, like for real, because according to the UK cybersecurity officials, there are confirmed ransomware attacks happening every single day.
These are spies fighting cyber gangs.
It's incredibly common. I mean, we get in at least one report a day of an organization being encrypted. There are so many attackers out there targeting organizations all the time that, all you need to do is slip up once and they might find a chink that they can get in.
As we stand at the moment with ransomware, are the criminals winning?
I don't think I'd say the criminals are winning.
They're doing well, though, aren't they?
The criminals are doing well.
And two of Bermuda's leading banks met with Minister of Home Affairs Alexa Lightbourne to talk about key consumer issues and how to make our money go a bit further and remain a bit safer. According to a government rep, Minister Lightbourne's discussions with HSBC and Butterfield focused on the importance of affordable and adequate access to financial services, particularly for vulnerable members of the community. The conversation considered options like tiered banking service packages and prepaid products designed to support vulnerable customers and expand access to affordable purchases. These new tools would help folks do business more easily with a diverse group of companies and grocery stores, making local economic activity more equitable and fair. Now, speaking of affordability, eating at an American steakhouse in the U.S. when we're on vacation over there could end up being about as expensive as getting a steak dinner here. U.S. beef prices have increased to an average of over $14 per pound. Now, this is where a large share of our food imports come from, which means these price hikes are very likely to hit us. Here's what's behind the meat price inflation.
The start of 2025 saw the lowest U.S. cattle herd in nearly 75 years.
We've got a larger decline in cow numbers than we do in beef production, and that's because we've just been growing the animals bigger, so we're producing more beef per animal. We take that smaller supply and then the very strong domestic demand for our beef, but those two things are what's driving beef prices higher. Just simple the fact that consumers want the beef, and there's not as much of it out there, and we increase prices of a good to ration its consumption.
And last night, thankfully, I did not need to wear socks, and you can probably keep the heater off tonight, too. The high temperature ceiling will make it to the low 70s due to high pressure that will keep the weather overall generally settled and cloudy. Now, it's not likely to last all that long, with a cold front approaching tomorrow evening that will give us strong winds and rain as we transition into the weekend, so keep your umbrella in the car. You will need it within the next 24 hours or so. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Back to the show.
All righty. Thanks, Tay Weezy. All right, folks. Days of the year. Now, I'm going to find out who's cheap. I'm going to find out who's cheap right now, who's creative, and who's just a good person. Folks, the U.S. today, days of the year, they are celebrating National Regifting Day. Yeah, National Regifting Day. National Regifting Day is one of those days where people really regift a present, maybe something they don't use, they don't want. It's about, you know what? I received this, but I don't need it. I received this, but I don't want it. I received this, but someone else needs it more than me. So I want to ask you all, for National Regifting Day, have you ever regifted something? And if so, what was it? Let me see. I give away a lot of stuff, but I don't consider it regifted. I mean, man, I should have thought about this before I asked it, huh? Give me an idea, folks. Regifting. I'm trying to. Oh, I won some tickets for a golf thing, and I what's it called? Like Top Golf. That's what it was. I won some tickets for Top Golf, and I'm not a golfer, right? And so I gave it to someone. I'm like, here, you can. And they tried to give me a bottle of rum, and I'm like, no, I don't drink. I'm good. But they were like, you sure? You sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So that's something. I'm like, that person really was like, loved golf. So that's something I've regifted. What else? Got me thinking. How about you, audience? Anything you've regifted? Have you ever regifted anything? Mark Arthur says, never in my life. You've never regifted anything, no? Yeah, that's the only thing I can think about, because most of the stuff is just really given or given back. Have you ever received something that was regifted? Would hand-me-downs count? Because I mean, it could be regifting when I make my donations to Goodwill and the thrift stores. I mean, that stuff. But again, I have things that I usually knew that I haven't worn or stuff like that. But that could be considered regifting, or is that just thrifting? I don't know. You all are cheap. I don't know. You all don't regift. You keep everything. I understand. I get it. It's all good. Not judging. We live in a time where many of us just don't have it like that. Let's be real. Diane Elliott says, items someone else can use more than me. or that I think they'll appreciate more than me. Yeah, that's how I would do. And Diane Elliott, it was a pleasure to meet you last weekend. Pleasure to meet you in person. Thank you for your support. Nicole Walker said, give a digital picture frame I was never going to use to a senior to use as a secret Santa gift. I love that. See, that stuff like that. That's really cool. Yeah. I've gotten a cigar before and I've given it to someone else who I know smokes cigars. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Don't forget, we've got Pastor Maria Seaman coming up after this break, our final guest of 2025. Tomorrow is our final show of 2025. So do not go anywhere. We'll be back in a few. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places, and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Pair with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Every spend tells a story. Yours could take you to South Africa. With your HSBC MasterCard credit card, every purchase brings you closer to a priceless experience. A business class trip and a safari in the heart of Africa. Moments that remind us that the true wealth is built from the stories we live.
HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Shoe bite? You can't say that. Oh, sorry. I'm just here practicing for my family game night this Christmas. Check it out. Shoe bite, Bermuda's own twist on the classic word guessing game, is here. Get ready for laughter, friendly chaos, and a whole lot of Bermuda flavor. And here's the best part. One lucky box has a golden ticket with a grand prize courtesy of One Communications. So visit BermudaTrivia.com to find out where to get yours today. Now, shoe bite, I'm trying to practice for my family game night.
Warning, this video contains flashing lights.
Oh yeah, just getting her? We've been doing this all along.
Free sign-up, no dimensional weight, the fastest customs clearance, and the lowest prices. Now, that's ZipX.
Every space has a message, whether it's a store, a government office, or a doctor's waiting room. With Store Tunes Radio, transform your environment with customized music and professional messaging that keeps people informed, engaged, and at ease. Easy to use, built for organizations of every kind. Powered by Bermuda Communications Group. Store Tunes Radio, the soundtrack to better customer experiences. Visit StoreTunesRadio.com to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Jamal Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour, brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Linda's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's go to the comments real quickly before because we've got to find out if Pastor Seaman also, has done some regifting. But Suzanne Ingham says, I gave away a golf voucher. I don't golf, not interested. I returned it and they gave it to a young guy who was longing for a free lesson. Angeline Butler says, my coworker did that this year at our Christmas lunch, was a WASCA gift given to her the year before. So go figure, just gave it back. Okay. Janice Battersby says, why do we reward recycling but call regifting cheap? Nobody knows you're regifting unless you tell them. And that's the same good as one man's trash is another man's trash. Absolutely. Absolutely. Allison Russell says, morning, Pastor Seaman, swim, family, and friends. And we've got James Burgess says, good morning to the Daily Hour team show, and Pastor Maria Seaman, wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Enjoy it to the fullest. And with that said, let's give a warm TDH welcome to Pastor Dr. Maria Seaman. Okay, calm down, calm down, calm down, calm down. Greetings, Pastor. How are you?
God bless you there, Jamal, brother Jamal. All is well. All is well.
I love to hear it. I gotta jump right into this. Gotta put you on spot. Let's talk regifting. Before we jump to anything, regifting. Have you ever regifted anything?
No, but here's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm dealing with family. I don't keep a record of who gave me what.
Right.
I would be afraid I'll give it right back to the same person. So I'm not taking a chance on this. If I kept notes like my sister, I would know who gave me what, and I might be doing that. So.
You know what, folks? She just gave you a lesson. Don't get caught slipping, regifting. All right. But you were last month. You were in the comments on the show. You said you were in Kenya. Before we jump into today's conversation, just tell us about your trip to Kenya.
An amazing time, a mission trip that we take every year, God willing, except during that pandemic. We have a church there. Children's home we sponsor monthly. We also are in affiliation with another children's home. It's an amazing time going to a warehouse, picking up things for them, ministering at churches. I have an open invitation to about 3 churches. Then after all this preaching and workshops, marriage counseling, teaching teens and whatnot, for about 10 days, for 4 days, the team and I turned into tourists. And I'm telling you, the safaris, game drives, it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to do mission work and to know. Let me tell you something. The time I feel like I'm kind of like, wow, I've got a lot of money, is when I give in places like Kenya. And it brings tears to my eyes every time. We've got plenty of footage, so we're going to be sharing on Swim TV, YouTube. It's an amazing thing to give to those who are less fortunate, halfway around the world. And so it's beautiful.
Yeah, I echo that. And while my trip wasn't missionary trip, I went to Kenya last year, November, and I remember we stopped on the side of the street. We got some bananas, and the kids came running up to the truck, and friend who was with, he just gave them a bunch of bananas, right? And it does, it like the richness in your heart to give those who want it. But it was a great experience, and I actually, when you said that, as I stated before we came on, growing up, I know so many pastors. I mean, maybe because I was closer to the space at that time, did missionary work that I knew, and I honestly didn't think as many pastors still did that. And then my business partner, her husband, is also a pastor, and he recently did mission work in Africa. So it's encouraging to see people still engaging in these missions, in these spaces. But Pastor, let's jump into today's conversation. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Dr. Maria Seaman, send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. We're discussing the reason for the season. Christmas has changed, right? The way we celebrate it. I mean, everything's changed. The way we live. Churches are more empty than ever when you look at the amount of churches in Bermuda and the pews. But from a Christian perspective, and with more people saying that holiday is a pagan holiday. What is the true meaning of Christmas, and why is that message still so important today?
Christmas or Christ Mass, a gathering of people unto the knowledge and celebration that God became humanity so that one day humanity can be with God. There's nothing better in the world. I remember as a child, one of the first scriptures I memorized as my mom was my Sunday school teacher was Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. If you learn that at age 8, 9, 10, it sets a foundation for what Christmas is really about. We'll probably talk about how it's become, yet that's the essence of the Christians, Christ Mass. Let's gather.
Well, let's jump into it, because Christmas has evolved over the years and become heavily commercialized. How do you think that shift has affected how families experience the season?
It's very interesting, and I did actually, because I was pondering, what questions I would get from you. And some people say, it began from a pagan worship, right? And I said to myself, but isn't that interesting? Why don't we believe that we can take lemons and make lemonade? I also thought about this morning, actually. We have our greatest holiday, one of our greatest seasons, cup match. We took a bad experience and we made it good. We have no problem doing that. Now the issue and the problem we have is now we're taking good and turning it into back to pagan. That's what's got me. We're taking something that's good, commercializing it, almost pimping Christmas, because we don't speak during the year. We're not kind to each other. We don't have that Christ feeling. And then Christmas time, we want to come together and try to be a family. And my thing is, Jesus Christ is every day of the year, every waking moment, and how abusive it can be that we capitalize it during one specific time when that's not the reason he came. And if we took that mentality and said, you know what, if we can have peace for December 25th and 6th, this can be done. And we can have families become tighter and closer. But you know what it's about? It's really about keeping the Christ in Christmas. And that's the difficult, the turnstile, the pivotal point. And so we're in a challenge because we are excusing Jesus out of his celebration.
For parents and guardians and families, with less children seemingly going to Sunday school or Sabbath school, whatever school, what are some ways like simple ways that we can help children understand what you just explained, the Christ in Christmas, that Christmas is about more than just gifts and the fancy decorations and so on?
Well, you would go to them being born. When mommy, let's do it like this, and this is really impromptu. You would tell your child, when mommy was carrying you, I was excited. I was preparing for you. I already had love for you before you came. And that's Jesus. That before we even existed, before we became a Christian, there was a man who came to demonstrate love. And he healed people. He made families whole. What? You get them in that mindset. If we get them in that mindset, we may be able to get them into Sunday school and the families into church. The essence of Christendom is very sweet. What it's become, commercial, even Christendom, let's be clear, even in the pulpit, in church buildings, we have become businesses, commercialized, not speaking to the essence of Christmas or the Bible. So we ourselves have lost our focus. No, it's about Jesus. It's about Merry Christmas because Jesus Christ came. So you always meet the child or whoever you're talking to, talk to them about something that will connect with them, and then take them to who Jesus is. So that's an easy way. I would talk about carrying them. And carry Jesus in your heart. You carry Jesus in your heart, you're not going to hurt anybody. You see how you talk to children? You, very, very simply, you ain't got to go deep. You're nice because Jesus is nice to you. Yeah, things like that. Things like that.
I went to church about 10, 12 years ago on Christmas, because growing up, we had to go to church before we could get our gifts. And I went about 12 years ago, and I remember the pastor saying, oh, all these people, you know, saying they don't celebrate Christmas and it's a pagan holiday and so on. And the pastor said, well, go to work today then. You know, don't take the day off. But when you, you know, I think we live in an era where the holiday, it seems Christian holiday, Good Friday, Christian holiday. I worked in a space where someone of another religion, this when I was living in Florida, said, well, I don't want to take this day off because I don't celebrate it. Do you feel like if we're guided by man's law, right, that this is a holiday that we are taking, there should be more impact from government in the teachings of this, or do you think it should be a separation?
I think that as a Christian, and I look at the progression of the Bible, I know, and this is a long story short, I understand that when the law was given, it was given to cause mankind to manage themselves, and they failed. And hence, Jesus Christ was given that there will be a different type of law in your heart. And that law of Jesus, like I talked about earlier, nice, kind, healing, bringing people, that law should govern. And by the way, that goes back to the question you were dealing with earlier with the court system. Why am I going to change, trust fully the wicked heart of men that don't operate according to the Bible? So we have to recognize that. Therefore, it's not something that can be mandated. Your heart cannot be mandated. You know, even if the law said you must all take a holiday, your heart ain't getting it. So it's not a real holiday to you. You know, go ahead and work on your laptop. Do something else.
So you agree with that, pastor? Then, okay. This time of year, there are so many people who are stressed. People dealing with grief, loneliness. How do you believe faith can help people navigate Christmas with peace and hope?
Yeah, you've hit a spot for me, of course. Shout out to my sister Allison. This will be our first Christmas without mom. And it hits heavy. It hits heavy. Yet the faith is that, Maria, you will see her. We will see her again, and she's going to be whole. Her body's not going to be broken down. And so this is her first Christmas with Jesus in paradise. So that's the management of it. There will be tears because I am the crybaby. I am the one. And so she taught us, though, this is important. I'm glad I'm remembering this. From age about maybe 10 for me, my dad brought her a big Bible, and we have read from that Bible every year as a family, the Christmas story. So we go to the house where my sister Allison now owns the house, and the family, we don't open a gift, we don't eat food until we read the Christmas story, the children, the great-grandchildren. So one of the ways to help deal with the loved one transitioning is to remember the legacy that they began. If you carry it on, you carry them on, so that the next generation and the next generation who may not know her, my first granddaughter won't know my mom like some of Allison's grandchildren, but she can know the legacy and thereby know her by legacy. So faith, we will see mom again because of Christmas, because Jesus came, gave his life, and he has ascended, I believe the Bible. I'm a Christian. Got a mansion. Mom's okay. We have to be okay. And it's only faith in God that makes me okay, because I miss her just immensely, immensely. My heart is yet broken. But it's being mended, and joy helps to mend it. But I would not sit her because every day I'm looking at her picture. Mom, I miss you so much. You know, so, but it's my faith to carry on, to minister. She began something, we must continue it.
And audience, I'll get to comments and questions. If you have any, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. Let's speak about love, generosity, service. What role do these things play in reclaiming the heart of Christmas, both with families and across the wider community?
Yeah, we've got to be more, again, echoing Jesus. You come to give love. To me, and this is one of my things, I like how children respond to me, because they don't have an agenda, and they don't have like preconceived ideas of who I am. So when children like me, which they all do, when they like me, I'm like, yeah, you know, because it's a sincere love. I believe that when we as a community operate from that angle of sincerity and care and love, you can't help but go back to our culture truly, which is a Christian culture. And that helps to heal the land. Listen, Jesus is the light of the world. I remember, this is kind of funny, but I had 8, 9 years old. I had a pet lizard named Harry, and he actually was in a box. He was supposed to stay by the Christmas tree, but I woke up Christmas morning. I don't know where Harry went. Anyway, my point is, I will look up at the light, and it will comfort me. The star, back then, Mom had a star. And I would say, Jesus is the light. Jesus understands. It's a comfort that we're not operating from, because we've gotten comfortable making it for ourselves. I can't make it for myself. I need God. I need Jesus to guide me as a light. Outside of the light, this is the point here, driving him now, darkness. I believe that we're experiencing a lot of darkness in Bermuda because we have purposely said we don't want church, we don't want God, we don't want Bible, we want gifts, so we'll take Christmas. We want to fly kites, so we'll take Good Friday. We've got to do it right, put it in the right order, and then we may begin to get in order the things that are out of order in our beautiful island of Bermuda. No place like it. I'm here until. I'll leave it there.
All righty, Pastor. Let's go to the comments. We've got Dorian says, Pastor Seaman, respectfully, we don't know that Christ was born on December 25th, and we don't know what day he was born. The day is celebrated in recognition of the birth of Christ. Any thoughts to that?
Absolutely right. You gotta choose a day. I wish you would have chosen June 20th. Hey,
Sounds
choose
like
a day. Choose a day. You know, we get stuff. Who cares? Listen to this. Here's an example. And when God's Spirit speaks, it's right on the spot. I'm going to give you an example. If I had no children and was unable to have children, and I said, okay, I'm going to adopt a child, do you know I would not care what day of the year that child was born? Only that child brought love to my life and filled a space. Come on, somebody. Did I say something there? Give me some hearts there, Shekinah Worship Center. Light them up with some hearts. So we're getting stuck on a date because we're stuck on not being a Christian and not worshiping Jesus. Come on, let's be real. Who cares about the date? Thank you, Jesus, you came. And I've got this peace and love and this hope of seeing Mom again. Come on, somebody. That's my daughter. Shout out Kimari. I see you there.
Suzanne Ingham says, exactly, Pastor Seaman, can't make it without Jesus. I need him every moment. Got quite a few. Audience, keep them coming if you've got any comments or questions. Charles H. Jeffs II, just off topic, says, good morning. How does Pastor Seaman think churches should balance offering their services on television and social media versus having people worshiping in person, forsake not the assembly of the gathering?
Amen. Amen. So the necessity of having online services was highlighted during a time when we were told we could not gather. So of a necessity, you did so. That has been removed. And so now we ought to be gathering in-house. Now, the beautiful part is, of course, we have a television channel that I totally produced myself, by the way. And even when I knew I could put that channel on, and I've got so many folks that are, happy it's on. It's on for those that can't make it to church. Social media, Facebook, YouTube, we're on for those that can't make it to the house. Because I find that the only institution challenged about gathering together is the church. When we were told to gather together. Football players gather together, basketball players gather together, social clubs gather together. The church, we can be home and do it. You just got fooled. You just got fooled. Let's give the example, present the example to our children. This is what we do when we believe in Jesus. The body gets together. We're the body of Christ. We're not supposed to be fragmented in that way.
Thank you for that. Quite a lot of comments, Pastor Seaman. We've got law versus grace, says Allison Russell. She also agreed. She said exactly all year, be kind, be humble, forgive. That is why Jesus came to show us the right way. We've got Jesus is the reason for the season, from the cradle to cross. We've got Polly Rich says, yes, Pastor Seaman, who cares about a date? I don't think anyone expected you to answer like that. That's but no, and I say that because that is an argument for people, right? It is the date. Anyone who knows, my father decorated up, and if you come up Southampton Scenic Heights Pass, him and my stepmother, they have the sign out there that says "Happy Birthday, Jesus." So that's every year. That's how. If anyone ever needs instructions to the house, that's how you define it. The happy birthday, Jesus, right? But let's speak about this, Dr. Seaman. I mean, look, as we approach Christmas, what message would you like to leave Bermudians about slowing down, reconnecting, and keeping Christ at the center of their season?
Well, you mentioned keeping Christ. So first of all, we've got to accept Christ. One of the very prevailing, I would say, guidelines of life is that there is eternity. You see, when you are the child of God, every day you recognize maybe the last day. And so therefore, we are living as pilgrims, understanding there's an eternity where we shall live. When you have that understanding, you manage your life differently. You manage your life differently. You drive more carefully, because you want to live the next day to testify to someone. You drive more carefully. I think I can keep saying that, because you recognize that you may end up in eternity. What we have, and I do want to say this, and it may be a sore spot, yet I do want to bring it up. We have many careless drivers and riders because they don't care about eternity. It's a big deal. Then if you care about legacy and teaching your children and having children, what have you, you want to be here. You want to be present. We've become very selfish. It's about now. No, it's about eternity. So I live now differently.
Wanted to ask you this earlier, and it just came back to me. Kwanzaa. It's something that was created by an African American to honor pretty much African pride and connection. What are your thoughts on things like Kwanzaa as a spiritual celebration during the Christmas period?
I believe anything, because I'm a Christian, Christ Mass, right? People are nice. Let's think about people. I'm a Christian. Anything that is not centered around my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we ain't doing it. Don't bring it in my family. Don't bring it at no celebration. Square. That's it. If it's not about Jesus, because we're going to lose our way. Jesus is our compass. Anything outside, I ain't no ancestors, I ain't raising no glass, bringing no wine, pouring no water, bringing no fruit. It's about Jesus. See, because what happens here is we've diverged into many ways. Well, we don't believe in many ways. We believe in one way. you see, through Jesus Christ. And so what we're beginning to do is feed a lot of people who have said, I don't want no white Jesus, all that type of stuff. So they're going somewhere else. Well, I ain't going with you, and don't bring it here.
Mm. So you don't think there's a way to celebrate both Blackness and Christianity as one?
I celebrate that I exist. I happen to be Black. Hey, why am I going to make it? I am who I am. Celebrate life. And then you're celebrating who you are. Celebrate who everybody is. Why we got to bring about purposely, I'm Black. No, just exist and be you. That's how you get special rights. No, we're all humans. Just be you and celebrate the you-ness, not the Blackness.
We got Michael Daniels saying, I believe that every thought is a prayer. Do you have a perspective?
I believe thoughts can be prayers because actually, I think Daniels was his name. I'll say this, sir, that I often say, I will think to God about you, which is my prayer. That's actually how I talk, because I may not talk verbally. I may not kneel down. I said, I'll think to God about that. I'll think to God, which is me talking to God. Before I get on here, I just think to God. I say, God, help me, because I don't know what these people are going to say. So I need to have your mind. So yeah, thoughts to God. Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, you came on and we went over actual data, and data showed that Christianity is like losing people in record numbers versus Islam growing in record numbers. As we head into 2026, especially with more people moving away who traditionally came up in the Christian space, what's your message to people? You just said it's not about keeping Christ, it's about knowing Christ, like accepting Christ. What would your message be to people going into a new calendar year about Christianity and Christ, especially those who have veered away because they felt it was harmful to them, or they felt like it was anti-Black or whatever? What would you say?
Yeah, one of the things, healing. I think that people really need to deal with the trauma and drama that they may have experienced in church, and then they blackball church, and they want to become empowered another way. Now, here is one thing I definitely do want to say, because it was about 2 months ago, I ran into a lady, and she had the most beautiful smile. So I went up to her and I said, I just want you to know your smile just made me feel so wonderful. She was a Muslim. And then 2 weeks later, I ran into her again at a place I hardly go. This is what I want to say here, that I respect all people who respect people.
Mm.
Now, I may not agree with their religion, but here's the thing. They're not bringing harm. Well, not the ones in Bermuda anyway. They're not bringing harm to Bermuda. So Bermudians have naturally this way of just being nice, no matter if you're atheist, Christian or not. However, when I go back to the fact that I am a Christian, when I go back to the fact that when we lose people through the road, deaths or gun violence, what have you, I usually see those people's homegoing celebration of life and all this stuff held in Christian churches. That's telling me something. We need to get back to our base, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see families saying, well, we didn't believe, we didn't go to church, and we're going to go out to the graveside and just pour water and that's the funeral. No, we go back to our beginnings. And if that's what we're doing, we have to appreciate it more and I believe, teach our younger lot. This is actually who we are. All right. Again, there's drama everywhere, yet usually the thing that is most attacked is the thing that is most sacred. I'll leave it there.
Before you head out, before we let you go, or you decide to leave us, I should say, not letting you go. I'm not got the hostage. But before you leave us, is there anything you'd like to say to Bermuda today?
Bermuda, you historically, and I even believe currently, are beautiful people. We are not experiencing beautiful things. There's a lot that is amiss. Yet it is my firm belief that if we got our spiritual lives together, the warfare that is happening of evil versus good, of light versus darkness, we would find ourselves in a more peaceful, godly environment. This would do good for us, our children, and our grandchildren. I would say to those who have given up on church, given up on those people, given up on those pastors, try it again. Now, perhaps you're at the wrong place. Come on down to Shekinah. We're a loving church, firmly based in the Word of God. Shout out to my superintendent and ministers that are even online. We can do this. That's one thing I believe. I am not giving up on Bermuda. I am not giving up on you because I am you. I'm here to stay. And so let's try something different. That'll be it. Let's try something different than what we've been trying and see what God will do. Blessings abound.
Pastor Seaman, have a very Merry Christmas, and I'm sure we will connect if all goes well in 2026.
I hope so. You have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And I didn't realize I was the last guest, so I'm going to say it like this. I said, I'm the preview guest of 2026. See how I turn things around?
I see that. I see that.
I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a blessing. Thank you.
Have a wonderful one. Talk soon.
God bless.
All right. Pastor Maria Seaman, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share that conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break. And yeah, we're going to have a little daily play after this. We'll see if you all are tuned in. Stick with us.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's loan guarantee program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Nova's Ark Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to Pastor Maria Seaman for stopping by for such an engaging conversation. Folks, if you haven't already and you are streaming with us on one of our social media platforms, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Folks, Bermuda Trivia is available at various stores throughout Bermuda. Shoe Buy is almost gone, sold out. It is only available at Flying Colors, Brown & Co., Phoenix stores, and of course, People's Pharmacy. Whatever is left in stores is what is left. So do not be disappointed. People reaching out, I'm afraid they're not going to get theirs. Get yours today, whether it's a gift or for yourself. But everything's available. The coloring books, the crossword puzzles, they're there. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's holiday trivia today. Are you ready? Now, here's your question. It's alleged that what U.S. state was the first to officially recognize Christmas as a holiday? Delaware was the first state, but it was not the first to allegedly recognize Christmas as a holiday. Seems no one knows the answer to this one. But, oh, sorry, Julie, Alabama. Yes, Alabama, the first state I lived in the United States. Alabama, says Sonny Carlton. Alabama it is. Yep. Alabama was the first state to recognize Christmas as a holiday. I did not know that before today. So we all learned something together. All right. Let's wrap it up, though. As far as the conversation earlier about do we trust the justice system and about sex offenders released on bail after conviction. I don't know what the law says, what the law states, but I'm a human being. And I believe that we need to be protected from those who pose a threat to other humans. If the justice felt that this individual was not going to cause harm to others and believe that they will return for their court case, I guess their situation is justified. But to me, some of the most heinous crimes committed by men are those in which vulnerable people, such as children and elderly, are taken advantage of. I don't know the full story. All I can go by is what is reported on TNN. But I do believe that the public deserves to know more. My hope is that the public will learn more so that people can feel at ease, as if this is not privilege, as if this is not the norm, and as if they should feel safe. As far as the conversation with Pastor Seaman, I always appreciate Pastor Seaman. For me, it's not about agreement, it's about understanding. And I appreciate her being open to engage with people and in spaces where we may not agree. But I believe that education is part of the conversations that we're having. And so I am grateful to her and her followers for engaging. And I truly do hope that much of what she said is digested and not dismissed. I hope that makes sense for a lot of us. All right, I've got to give you some daily inspiration and then head out for the day. Take One of the affirmations from my upcoming book, the journey, within. Quote, so many people plan for the future and never get to experience it. Moral of the story, enjoy today as much as possible because tomorrow may never happen. Alrighty, folks, gotta let you go, but don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can do this with you on a regular basis and pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow for the final time live in 2025. We'll have some giveaways, we'll have some fun. So please make sure you join us tomorrow, the final live show of this calendar year. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.